The Buddha's teachings, tolerance will help you overcome troubles and afflictions. Like a spider that slowly spins its silk to form a beautiful web, nature has created countless beings in this world. That beauty is boundless and infinite. When our minds harbor desires, we often think that if only we could attain them, we would surely be very happy. Yet when our dreams come true, our hearts feel strangely empty. Do you know why? The arising of desire is like yearning for something. Once you've obtained it, fulfilling that long-awaited dream, there is no longer that sense of longing that once filled your life, like water slipping through your fingers. Thus, there is no certainty in human life, right? Exactly. Let go of those illusory worldly desires. Forget about your own life and death, because clinging to them will not bring you any lasting benefit. Though you may fear the disappearance of this life, first deny its seeming reality, and then look for the self that is hidden within. How many people in this world suffer from material deprivations? Their lives are poor, lacking proper food and clothing, enduring all kinds of unfair treatments. There are also many people whose mental suffering is immense. Some even want to jump into a deep abyss. Why not pay attention to the beautiful scenery right before your eyes? Anything in excess, even joy, can ultimately lead to suffering. Therefore, we must maintain the middle way. That way, you will clearly see the true nature of all things and experience boundless tranquility. Because of ignorance, suffering arises, along with delusion, worry, greed, anger, arrogance, illusions, jealousy, fear. All these emerge from ignorance. Illusions can be two-sided, but if we abide in the middle way, neither leaning to one extreme nor the other, not letting the body starve yet not indulging in passion, then regarding our desires, we focus on the middle way. If we recognize that evil is merely an illusion, all afflictions will dissolve on their own, and we will immediately experience love and compassion. The essence of these two emotions is the same. Once felt, all resentment disappears. Toward those who treat us cruelly, we can still understand them, and when the door of wisdom opens, what remains is only tolerance. During meditation, if wandering thoughts arise, wisdom can help us discern truth from falsehood, discern self from others. But it's precisely such differentiation that leads our lives astray. People are often bound by emotions, and greed is what causes us to stray from truth in the cycle of birth and death, from the moment we are born until we die. We fear sickness and death, yet that only magnifies our ignorance and anxiety. Therefore, we need to eliminate all deluded thinking. Once we step beyond illusions, our lives are set free from confinement, entering serenity, stillness, and peace. The Four Noble Truths are four noble realities. The first truth, suffering is unavoidable and follows us like a shadow. The second truth, the root cause of suffering is ignorance, greed, anger, sorrow, anxiety, fear, despair, and attachment to self. The third truth, the cessation of suffering is wisdom, the understanding of the truth about oneself and about life. Such insight ends suffering and gives rise to inner peace. The fourth truth, the path to end suffering is the Noble Eightfold Path, sustained by mindfulness and awareness, leading to concentration and wisdom, liberating us from all suffering. What is this path? It is 8 righteous ways: right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. The Noble Eightfold Path guides our actions, and we ourselves are the Dharma. For countless ages, we have observed and blamed the faults of others, expecting sutras and scholars to purify them, like making offerings or sacrifices, for instance. But I affirm that the cause of all wrongdoing lies within ourselves, and likewise, only we can open the door to liberation. Suppose someone wants to cross to the other shore. What should they do? If a person uses wisdom, renouncing desire and ignorance, how could they fail to find the truth and the path of liberation? But if they rely solely on prayers or sacrifices, they will forever stand at the starting line, unable to move forward. The earth is our foundation, and the blue sky offers us a boundless space. Our physical bodies exist within it. What is called the supreme truth? It can only be experienced personally. Understanding oneself, recognizing that in your true nature there are neither thoughts nor desires, only by sensing and maintaining neutrality can you realize it. Once you grasp these things, you will no longer sense existence. Nothing is different, just like changing weather or leaves falling from trees in decay. Can we perceive this? Of course we can. Wisdom is everywhere, in the sun, the moon, the stars, the galaxies, this supreme truth. Everyone can possess it and attain enlightenment. As of today, I have undergone extremely difficult trials: desire, anger, illusions, greed, hunger. They all appeared before me, yet my heart remained firm and unshaken. I vowed that even if I had to sacrifice myself, I would still realize the supreme truth. In the end, I accomplished that ultimate truth. All things in the world converge into one entity, like an invisible thread we cannot see. If you diligently do good, like a flame racing ashore, over time, your good karma will accompany you from one life to the next, until the day of enlightenment. Conversely, if you do evil, you will endure the painful consequences over countless lifetimes. Thus, such actions form the cause of downfall. If you devote every moment of the present to proper mindfulness, maintaining equanimity and composure, you will find the middle way in your own heart, neither sad nor happy, transcending the endless cycle of karmic forces. Ultimately, you will realize the supreme truth. People are not making offerings to the monks. Is that right, venerable teacher? Can we go somewhere else for alms? Of course you can, but what is your reason for going elsewhere? If it follows you there, then what? No, venerable teacher, it's because the people in that village always sneer and insult us. Moreover, they mock and humiliate us, making us angry. If they came out waving flags to welcome you, would you feel joy and delight? Does that mean you have handed over your inner peace to others? External circumstances can unsettle you. They can also please you. If you still harbor anger, then you are far from attaining ultimate truth, venerable teacher. We understand your explanation, Master. I hope you always remember one thing. People have never easily welcomed anything new. You are challenging their old beliefs, so naturally they resist. First, they'll tease you, then hurt you. Next, they'll avoid you and pay no attention to you, but gradually they will accept you. You must undergo this transformation, remaining modest and patient. May I ask, I want to see Bodhi. What is Bodhi? This is my last hope, Venerable Bodhi. Please save my son. Give me back my son, I beg of you. Venerable Bodhi, please bring my child back to life. I can make the child live again, but first you must do something. Go to any house in the city and ask for a mustard seed. Yes, I will go right away. But remember, the house from which you get a mustard seed must be one where no one has ever died. Yes, all right, my child, oh my dear child. Excuse me, can you spare me one mustard seed? Yes, of course, but you only need one seed? By the way, has anyone ever passed away in your house? What? Who hasn't? My parents passed away half a year ago. I'm sorry, I cannot take a mustard seed from your house. All things in this world arise and pass away. That is the natural law. Regardless of age, intelligence, or ignorance, everyone must die. If we had told you this truth earlier, would you have believed us? The moon hanging in the sky is like this supreme truth. Each night it rises, growing larger day by day until it is perfectly round. After reaching fullness, it wanes until it disappears, only to begin its cycle again. But it never truly vanishes, it simply lies beyond our sight. Your child has not really died, he lives on in your heart. Yes, calm yourself, and you will understand. The nature of life is like a person's shadow. Suffering accompanies us all our lives. And the cause of that suffering is our attachment to external circumstances. I understand now, nothing is permanent. How can I be free? The key to liberation lies in the transformation of the mind. Whether sorrow overwhelms you or joy floods in, you must remain composed between the two. Practice this, and the chains of suffering will be undone. You will then see the supreme truth. As your wisdom grows, you will realize that life and death, coming together and parting, are not two separate things, but one. If someone strictly follows a certain principle, in the end, they might lose their spiritual freedom and become rigid, lacking flexibility. If they blindly submit to prejudices, believing only their own faith is correct while dismissing all others, then the freedom of thought no longer exists. Only a single viewpoint occupies the mind, bringing about control and conflict. Resistance arises naturally, and blind faith, even having no faith, can still be a form of enslavement. Thought is a powerful energy. It can completely dominate you. But such rigid clinging is the greatest obstacle on the path. If you remain bound by it, the door to the truth cannot open. If people follow your teachings, will they still be bound in any way? What I teach is based on my own realization. My path is not a set of rules, nor is it scripture or philosophy. It's simply pure perception, and it is also the impermanent truth. However, if someone treats my path as dogma, then what? My path is meant to be practiced, not to rely on or worship, especially if one does not truly apply it. All my knowledge is like a raft. Use it to cross the river. Once across, would you carry it on your head, continuing on with that raft? There is still a feeling that stops me from surrendering completely. Emotions are divided into 3 categories: joy, sorrow, and calmness. These 3 types of feelings always reside in our bodies and minds. Emotions surge like flames and then subside into stillness. I believe first we should examine their intensity, understand them thoroughly, and find out from where they arise. Whether joy or sorrow, we should trace it back to its origin. Once we discover their source, we will realize that everything is empty. The emptiness we speak of is like the vast blue sky. Though it appears empty, it encompasses all things, like a large canvas of the mind. Keep going, relying on this, and you'll see those old flames gradually subside. The supreme tranquility emerges from deep within, unshaken. Observing deeply inward, we discover what is mistaken. The hardest thing to break is often the easiest thing to uproot. Ignorance is the root of all afflictions, and our insight comes from meditation. Meditation dispels ignorance. Apart from meditation, neither prayers, asceticism, fasting, sacrifices, nor any other practices can grant even a fraction of life's deepest mystery: liberation from fear, from worries about the future, from the sorrows of the past, and from dependence on or fear of our former selves. Another truth about life is that we become attached to certain people and possessions, yet in the end, we must lose them. From the moment you stop reaching out for someone's help, that is precisely when you achieve freedom. Please, Master, teach us the essentials for a householder's life. Marriage discipline. Equality is most important. Only when husband and wife love each other and live in harmony can that family truly flourish. This prosperity radiates so that everyone feels happy. The union of husband and wife should go beyond mere physical and material desire. The wife is part of the husband's being. The husband should respect his wife and protect her reputation, never embarrassing her in front of others. The wife should conduct herself according to the standards of a virtuous woman, while the husband should live up to his role, avoiding vices. Every decision the husband makes should consider his wife's aspirations. Loving your husband is also the wife's responsibility, seeing her husband's family as her own. She should serve as a loving harbor, caring for every family member. If husband and wife treat each other like honored guests and trust each other, the supreme truth will be theirs. Compassionate blessed one, please tell us what we should keep in mind to walk the path you have pointed out. Associate with the good. People who do not focus on right mindfulness easily make you lazy and undisciplined. Create favorable conditions for your practice so your mind remains pure and untainted. Your livelihood must also be in harmony with the Dharma. Whatever you do, be it trade or everyday chores, first understand them thoroughly, then give your all to finish them. Even cooking rice or boiling water should not be dismissed as mundane. Rather, see it as an opportunity to care for yourself, your husband, and your children. In any fortunate circumstance life offers, do not be selfish or live only for yourself. Share your happiness, success, and wealth with others. Avoid gambling and drunkenness. Cultivate humility, courtesy, friendliness, and integrity. Seize opportunities to make offerings and practice meditation, and you will dispel worries and difficulties. Finally, your mind will perceive the supreme tranquility. Remember this: each morning when we wake up, with the dawn of a new day, it's crucial to be aware of what we must do. People often forget to feel gratitude. One must keep in mind all that we owe, like the trees, flowers, wind, water, and air, which don't truly belong to us. Even more so, be grateful for everything. Always hold in your heart a sense of thankfulness. Live and think in this way, and you will reap many benefits. It's not in vain. If everything were worthless, we would all be ill and death would be close at hand, right? When we live with gratitude, it's like a splendid flower blooming in this world. For 5 years you have triumphed in what? I am leaving, not because of a victory, but because of what I have lost. Lost what? Yes, I lost my anger, I lost my greed, my envy, and my hatred. I lost jealousy. Thus I have nothing left, only calm remains. I see, so you mean you have become very peaceful, right? My child, I am living in rage, correct? That is what you say. Anger will cause you misery. It's just a few words of argument. Arguments lead to rage, and rage prevents us from reaching the truth. It's simply a way to shield ourselves. I am not angry. Good. Anger is like a spark of fire in the palm of your hand. You want to throw it at someone else, but before you manage to do so, your own hand is already burnt. Faced with the shackles of desire, envy, anger, ignorance, and greed, my fervent wish is for everyone to break free from them. These flames are consuming your life, destroying countless beings. In the midst of this great conflagration, trapping all living creatures, there is still a window open in your heart, like a doorway you can step through if you choose to listen. Anyone who comes near me will be safe if they follow me out of this sea of fire. The path of liberation lies right before you. Hatred never ceases by hatred. Only by love can it be quelled. That is an eternal law of nature. Venerable One, please show me the way out. I'm clinging to a pain that seems unbearable. Don't cling to what is past, and do not dream of what has not yet come. Dwell in the present moment, and you will find release from suffering that seems unendurable. We are born into this great earth. All our feelings are suffering in this cycle of birth and death, filled with sorrow. But this world is not simply a haven for suffering. Rather, it is also the abode of the awakened ones, if only we learn to awaken from ignorance. Born of ignorance are suffering, worry, wandering thoughts, anger, greed, pride, arrogance, envy. Though life and death appear as two, in reality they are not different, they are one. We have been hindered by mistaken perceptions. Once we remove all obstructions, our entire life becomes independent, needing no reliance, free from hindrances. Morality, concentration, wisdom, and the Noble Eightfold Path can remove all such mistaken notions. Let me reiterate it once again. Right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. For a sleepless person, the night is endless. For one exhausted on the road, the journey is infinite. And for those dwelling in ignorance, unable to understand what the Dharma is, their entire lives are nothing but suffering and sorrow. Any form of knowledge you obtain, be it from your own reading, from what wise ones teach, or even from what I say, do not hastily believe. Use your learning and intelligence to examine it, then analyze and verify it through experience. Venerable One, if we should encounter you on the path of truth, then what? Even if you meet me, do not hastily accept it as ultimate. If you meet the Buddha, do not take that as the final refuge. Even if you encounter your own father, do not forsake the righteous path. Your life must rest firmly in your own hands. Do not depend on others. Even if your food is simple, with love, it can become delicious. To give wholeheartedly, your mind, your possessions, these offerings come from goodwill. Only greed, hatred, ignorance, and desire can defile us. If we toss dust at the sky remains undiminished, while the dust falls back on us. The sky is no different, like a father silently sheltering humankind. Throughout the ages, nature does not discriminate, so why do humans trample on one another? We all possess reason. Each person should realize their innate potential and reclaim their dignity. My path is a path of boundless love, welcoming all beings. The tears of all beings reflect their heart's tenderness. Our blood is the same color. It is humankind that creates false biases to oppress one another. Today I intend to do away with these illusions. Life and death are an inevitable part of humanity. Reflect well, be vigilant, don't get lost in desires. All the more so, you must live a life of peace, joy, and contentment. That is the Dharma's truth and the true meaning of life. Such truth neither arises nor perishes, neither begins nor ends, neither decreases nor increases. The only thing that remains is stillness, tranquility. Stillness, tranquility. You must remember, doubt is a deadly disease. It divides people, like a poison-destroying friendship. It is a thorn piercing to the very bone. Never forget that our thoughts shape who we are. I only point out the road. Your practice depends on yourselves. Monastics, the most fearsome enemy of a person is their own self. Whatever we do arises from our thoughts. Good thoughts give birth to good deeds. Bad thoughts bring about evil deeds. It is the law of nature. I have found the path to liberation. Now the gateway to blessings has opened. This treasure belongs to everyone. I want to awaken those still lost in darkness to rouse their thinking. From ignorance arise suffering, delusion, anxiety, greed, anger, arrogance, illusions, jealousy, fear. These all stem from ignorance. Cruelty, too, is born of ignorance. Hatred, envy, foolishness, anger, and desire all arise from ignorance. Yet love, forgiveness, compassion, understanding, and humility also exist within each of us. Even in the cruelest person, there is kindness. Once they shed their old skin and become renewed, they can transform themselves. Humanity can, by its own efforts, change body and mind, like changing forms to begin a new life. Venerable One, in meditation, what have you attained? I have attained nothing at all. I have only distanced myself from hatred and escaped sorrow. I no longer feel anxiety. I no longer fear old age, and I have conquered death. Monks, what concerns me is everything. Good conduct is like a flame consuming a forest. The more fuel it has, the more it devours everything in its path, the bigger it grows. Evil conduct works in the same way. Anger, sadness, greed, and fear rely on the fuel within us to blaze continuously. The fires of hatred and greed keep burning until we break free from this cycle of birth and death. Suppose there are people who think only of material pleasures, trying to acquire more and more wealth, but end up binding themselves ever more tightly. They can never be satisfied. Their minds are worried day and night, wondering what to do if they lose their possessions. Meanwhile, if someone can cut off such attachments, they need not worry about the future or carry the burdens of the past. They will be calm, free, mindful in the present, abiding in the middle way, and ultimately experience true peace in this world. O people, open your hearts and let this vast sky shine in at every dawn, soothing and sweet in each cell of your body and mind. Be silently aware, for in a single instant of wakefulness, you transcend countless years of delusion. View life with childlike eyes, boundless in your love. Let go, just for a moment, and sit down while the crimson glow appears along the horizon. Life has for decades been filled with anxieties, but once we know true happiness is found within, we realize that to refine and clarify is to discover compassion blooming in our hearts. We come to love this world even more, embracing all sentient beings. For all living things share the same essence. Once the mind's delusion shatters like water droplets returning to the ocean, who knows, amid impermanence, a lotus may bloom in timeless peace. Pause your hurried steps in this world and quietly listen to your own heart. You may find that you no longer know where the boundary between heaven and earth lies. When a single lotus of the mind blossoms, the universe reveals itself, unbounded. If we open ourselves to selflessness, we will find inner joy blossoming. If we cling to self-interest, we swirl in restlessness and pain. Look deeply. Suffering arises from ourselves. Observe all beings around us. Understanding leads to compassion, so we gaze upon them with empathy. Everywhere, north, south, east, west is our kin. In such a life, there are no enemies. One of the many troubles humans face is demanding absolute perfection from others. Once we learn to accept that others are inevitably flawed, happiness arises at hand, allowing us to savor the present moment. Knowing that life is relative, our hearts grow tolerant, and we trust people in life more, with fewer complaints and disappointments. The basis of existence is its relativity. Between this person and that person, between this thing and that thing, between this world and another, between this life and the next. No one lives without dying, and nothing dies without reappearing in some form or other. Life is relative, so human existence is relative. Hence, no one lives in complete isolation, and no one is absolutely perfect. If you look carefully and listen deeply, even those you despise the most have genuinely likable qualities. Therefore, what you dislike about them is only relative. When we accept that life is never absolute, we stop our extreme hatred for those we deem unlovable. Likewise, we stop being blindly obsessed with or worshiping those we love. In short, when you can objectively look at reality, you'll find more comfort in interacting with diverse viewpoints and both likable or unlikable people. People have long imprisoned themselves in the jail of love and hate, of extremes created by their own minds. While we ourselves are not absolute, we still want everything around us to be so, and that's why we suffer. Once you realize this, may I ask, who can help you live more happily, think more positively, and act more objectively? Only one person, yourself. If you constantly remind yourself of this truth, you will find it easier to remain calm and comfortable in all interactions. Happiness begins to sprout only when we change how we perceive things from within. It comes only when we truly open our hearts. To be human, you may think it's easy, yet it's not so easy to inspire thousands of hearts to follow what is right or to control the tongues of the world. But being human is not really hard either. Keep a kind heart, be a good person, follow your own path, and you will find life is enough. No matter how well you live, there will always be those who praise and those who condemn. No matter how you appear, there will always be people who dislike it. Flowers have countless shapes and forms, yet they can still bloom and emit their fragrance. Humanity, too, comes in different ways of living. Instead of pushing each other down, why not lift each other up? Right or wrong, good or bad, often depends on perspective. The important thing is not to force uniformity, but to dissolve jealousy, stubbornness, and the urge to outperform others in our own hearts. Try offering people sincere kindness. Once the autumn arrives and you look around with a compassionate eye, this world will be brighter. Softening your heart sometimes takes only a gentle moment, like dust just brushed from your eyes. Suffering flows everywhere like rivers across mountains, yet tears can transform into mist, and life becomes beautiful when it comforts us. Offer others your smile, and the world opens, full and vibrant. Where there's love and understanding, heaven is everywhere. I choose to be good not because I'm foolish, but because I know goodness is our human nature. We cannot be cruel, for we would face our own retribution. I choose to yield, not out of fear, but because when we back off a little, storms can subside. If we yield a step, the sea is vast and the sky is high. I choose tolerance, not because I'm weak, but because people need to accept and make up for each other if life is to be complete. I choose silence, not out of ignorance, but because in the face of misunderstanding, anger, or injustice, if we open our hearts and don't keep score, everything passes more gently. I choose to forgive, not because I lack principles, but because letting go for another is also freeing myself. I can't let one momentary mistake erase everything. I choose honesty, not because I'm out of touch, but because living in truth is much more effortless than hiding behind lies and deceptions. Dishonesty doesn't lead to a beautiful outcome. Surely life brings many events that don't go our way, and we will meet people who betray us. If we can't forgive and let go, we'll find ourselves entangled in troubles. Among people, differences in values, knowledge, views, and upbringing often lead to conflicts. It's normal. At those times, forgiveness becomes a noble act, a sign of refinement, like an umbrella sheltering us on a rainy day. Forgive and forget a bit, be generous in spirit, accept a bit of loss. This is not weakness, rather it allows your journey ahead to be open and uncluttered. Life is like a sky, sometimes clear and pleasant, sometimes dark and gloomy. Life never grants us perpetual fortune and bliss. It can make us taste bitterness. So open your heart, practice letting go of the people and things that trouble you. Often the world doesn't care how much you've suffered or how you have struggled. People only pay attention to the outcomes you deliver. So when storms come, simply tell yourself that, eventually, after the storms pass, the sun will shine again. There's no point complaining, lamenting in front of others, for they likely don't care. Some things, when released, feel lighter. Certain people, when remembered, bring happiness. Some sorrows, once understood, make you stronger. Overthinking leads only to dead ends. Even the simplest matter, if overthought, can become complicated. If you keep a calm mind and open heart, all difficulties pass more smoothly. In life, there is gain and there is loss. When you give, you won't necessarily receive an immediate reward. Life operates in its own way. The future lies ahead. Just step boldly onward. Give yourself a pair of free wings. Leave behind pain and attachments to become a happier person. Forget the years and your age. Don't let time make you wither. No matter how old you are, as long as you feel young at heart, it's enough. Avoid being tempted by fame and wealth, for they are fleeting. Everyone desires a bit of recognition and benefit, then competes to get them. When they fail, they blame life for being unfair. In truth, an ordinary and simple life is the greatest blessing. When troubles weigh heavily, stay calm. Give yourself time and space to restore balance. Notice the tiny wildflowers along the road, small yet exultant, adding color to life. then the world suddenly seems brighter. In life, if there's profit, don't seize it all. Wealth can't be fully used up in one lifetime. Know when to stop. If you're right, don't press the other person until they have nowhere to go. Arguing about fairness can drag on forever, and winning can cost you your kindness and peace. Even if you are exceptionally gifted, never mock those less capable. Comparing people with people only causes mutual hurt. Comparing things with things often means abandoning something else. If you are too clever, others become suspicious. Too strict, resentment arises. Too arrogant, you'll be shunned. Overthinking leads to anxiety. Paying excessive attention is self-torment. Seeking too much leaves you fatigued. Only when your heart is at ease can the days be free and peaceful, and life truly worth living. Sometimes a harsh word can lead to a battle, while a single kind sentence can bring many good things. Persuading someone can require endless words, but sometimes only one phrase can ruin everything. Hence, every word deserves caution, and thorough consideration can spare you regret. Everyone has strengths and weaknesses. If you observe only another's merits without criticizing, then anyone can teach you something to help you improve. Instead of being envious or admiring people from a distance, why not turn your gaze inward and learn seriously? Plotting and scheming for others to fail is useless compared to quietly striving to become stronger yourself. Looking back, many things that once caused us vexation or confusion now seem unworthy. Reflecting on what once brought immense pain is now as light as a breeze. Therefore, in all matters, do not be hasty or narrow-minded. Remain calm, reflect deeply, be open. There is nothing in this world that is truly impossible. Hence, many wonder why, in old age, some people's faces look so kind and benevolent, while others appear harsh and resentful. Because our appearance arises from our mind, it changes according to our inner state. When the mind is beautiful, the outward appearance becomes beautiful. Compassion can nourish our bodies. If our hearts are full of love, our every action radiates it. If our hearts are full of calculation and suspicion, we will always be on guard. Virtue is born of goodness. Intelligence can be a natural gift, but goodness is a choice. Goodness is the highest virtue of humanity. It may not always bring you everything you desire, but it keeps your mind stable. The mind is like a path. The more you plot and calculate, the narrower it gets. Better to expand the mind. A bit of openness in your heart paves a broader way. A house built well is not as valuable as a mind built well. Everyone who assumes a human body has some degree of good fortune, like a moon shining with some measure of blessed merit. Doing good is like a waxing moon from the 1st to the 15th day, growing ever brighter. Doing evil is like the moon from the 15th day to the 30th, gradually disappearing into darkness. How sorrowful is that? If you cherish your shining moon, let your blessings flourish like a moon from the 1st day to the full moon, ever brighter. How wonderful! The world is like a mirror. If your face scowls, the reflection scowls back. The fault isn't the mirror. Life is also a mirror. Smile, and the reflection smiles back. Therefore, don't hesitate to offer everyone a gentle smile. Life has so many sorrows. If you wipe the dust from your mind's mirror, you'll see the world is always bright, even if the outer surroundings are still hazy with fog. Everyone you meet is a mirror, reflecting life's lessons. If you keep love and understanding in your mind, the world becomes fragrantly wonderful.